Good evening and welcome everybody to CryptoNow episode 5. I'm sitting here with the boys from CryptoNow, Crypto Ventures actually, Joe Mataj and Ashley Hutchinson. Today we're going to be talking about play to earn and what an interesting world that is. I can't wait to dive into that with you guys, but Happy New Year to you. How you guys been? How's the new year starting off for you? Ashley, how you been?
I'm great. You know, we got a bunch of spoiled kids after the holidays and made it through, you know. I enjoyed it, but I was ready to get going, you know.
2022 already. It's almost weird to say that. Yeah. Joe, how you doing? How's the new year treating you?
Not too bad. Glad to get the whole Christmas holiday thing behind us and be able to get focused.
Are you guys, are you someone who almost hates the holidays because it puts a bump in your routine? Or are you somebody that can enjoy it and then you have that holiday hangover and it's almost hard for you to get back into it? What is it for you guys?
I love the holidays until right after Christmas, and then it's like, okay.
I'm ready to get started.
This is no man's land now.
I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I endure through the holidays, and I'm happy when it's all over.
Poor Joe. Us Grinches, man.
Yeah.
Us trying to celebrate Christmas. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's dive right in. We don't got a lot of time, as usual. It always seems to go by real fast. Today we're talking about play to earn. Somebody just dive into what that concept is. We've mentioned it briefly a few times on the show, but like, tell me from your words for your viewers exactly what that means.
So play to earn is essentially what it says. You can literally play games and earn real dollars or real world money, so to speak, by playing a game.
And who pays that? Is it come from the developers, like the game developers themselves? Who pays that price? Who pays the money?
It can be a combination of things. I mean, at its heart, I think it's kind of more like a revenue sharing environment here.
Okay.
Where, and I think that's kind of the attraction for me here is that I guess the contrast is what playing a video game today means, right? It's a one-way street.
Right.
The money goes into the corporate coffers, and your reward for that, so to speak, is just the ability to play the game and get your entertainment out of it. The play-to-earn space has developed what I see as a more community-oriented space where, yes, the developers, they've developed the games, they've certainly made an investment and are going to reap the majority of the revenues from this, but they're creating an environment where the players can benefit by playing the game and also kind of promoting and helping the game grow, not only from just playing, but feedback, and it becomes more of a combined effort by players and developers.
It's almost like a sample size, or like what do they do in Hollywood? Whenever they got a new pilot, they put it in front of an audience to see, they're testing it out to see what they like. They've got 1,000 questions on the sheet they've got to answer afterwards. Should she have wore a different colored dress? Things of that nature. And you're getting it for a pretty cheap price. But to the player, like you said, it now becomes a two-way relationship. I'm getting something back for not just my time playing your game. I'm getting real life money, right? That I can either put back into the game or spend on something else that I want.
And or feel like, as you're saying, you can have real feedback into what is happening in this game.
Sure.
There are things that could be done better, things you like, don't like, and so I think it's a very innovative space.
Ashley, what's your experience with it right now?
Well, I guess I wanted to comment on the context of it.
Okay.
It really is a natural outgrowth of our last episode topic, the Metaverse. Because really what this is, what we're talking about, is Metaverse gaming or blockchain gaming, and which happens to be play to earn.
Right.
Because play to earn is a decentralized take on gaming, just like decentralized finance is a decentralized take on finance. And it's interesting because right now, the market for this is already incredible. I just read that it's something like $180 billion in the space already, and they're estimating that it's going to be at $400 billion by 2025. there are hundreds of millions of dollars, remind me, I want to talk a little bit about some things that we're going to be testing soon. But there are games that have hundreds of millions of dollars in earnings going back and forth on a regular basis. But just step back and think about this. There's a development that's underway, the metaverse itself, which gaming is part of it. And these gaming platforms on the blockchain, they're games right now where you can go and you do challenges and you play games like you would think traditional gaming is, except you're earning and buying and selling and you're being paid for this. But then there are next steps that are already underway in regards to these games are going to be situated in digital worlds that have like a complexity to them you wouldn't believe. For instance, some of these games they're you can play with characters now and in-game items like you would expect, but they're launching digital land where players will be able to play in the digital land, and digital land owners will be able to develop their land. Okay, and catch this. One of the biggest segments of opportunity in the metaverse, according to a report I just read from Grayscale, is advertising. That
really
they're saying that because there's going to be land in these metaverses and these game platforms, and your gameplay will be heightened by the land that you own and how you develop that land. Well, there's going to be eyes there, right? There's going to be people there that have wallets connected to this metaverse. And so where do advertisers want to go? Where do brands want to go? They want to go where the eyes are, right? Where the dollars are. And so that's like basically the number one application for the metaverse in 5-10 years is advertisers.
It's interesting because every time we get in these conversations, I feel like you'll say one thing and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go there. And then you'll say two more things and we could just literally go down any avenue. And that component is fascinating to me. I forget the name of the movie. It might have just, Brad Pitt played in a movie where he went to the moon, or maybe it was Mars. I don't know where he was going, but when he gets there, there's an Applebee's. And it's like, that is such an American thing to do, is to put advertising on everything. And now you have this situation where you're talking about this, we don't even know what it is yet. It's so new, but there are people there that know what it is and have such a grasp on it. And that's where you guys come in. When you say digital land, do we have access to purchasing this now as the average Joe? Does it not exist yet? How does somebody that's listening to this that might want to be a part of it, how do they get their hands on it early?
Well, it is absolutely available today.
Really?
Yep. Several games. I'm sure we've already mentioned Axie Infinity in previous episodes, but they were the front runners in terms of the play-to-earn space. And again, I think they have a market cap of over $1 billion already.
Yeah.
And this is the smallest it's ever going to be, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. These games are just getting started, but absolutely, the plots of land are already available. And in the case of Axie Infinity and some of these games, the concept is there. The asset can be purchased, but it's actually not even functional yet. They've got an outline for it. They know what it's going to do and why it's going to be valuable, but it's actually not even functional at this point. And the value of this land is incredible. When you say an average Joe, that might be a little misleading because you're probably looking
at if you have $15,000-$20,000.
Exactly, a minimum of $10,000 to $15,000.
I have that just lying around. Yeah. No.
Well, and just like with real property, these values, these digital land plots have value according to certain characteristics. Like for instance, in Axie Infinity, because Axies or the game characters are going to be walking through land and cities and whatever. If you can purchase a piece of land at an intersection, it's a lot more valuable over time than it is a piece of land in the middle of nowhere.
That is so interesting.
So it's really interesting. And
You would think, yeah.
people right now are they're scooping up a lot of these land plots, and some of them are reselling them, some of them are holding them.
I think I would probably do a little bit of both, right? Sell them for a quick buck, but you'd also have that, if you think it's got some value in it later, I'm holding on to it.
And I just wanted to mention this as well, again, to the context, because, and by the way, it might be appropriate time, Crypto Ventures is in the process of making its first investment in Metaverse gaming. And we've decided to work on a pilot for a beta program for a game called Axie Infinity. And even are in talks at the moment of securing a manager for that to help us, that has a long, a good history and understanding of that. And by the way, this is very predominant in the Philippines, Axie Infinity scholars and players. There are a huge percentage of those players are in the Philippines, and people that are making a living now in the Philippines, a good living, playing a game called Axie Infinity on the blockchain, and they're paid with crypto and exchange it for pesos or dollars or whatever they exchange it for. It's incredible. Just go Google Axie Infinity Philippines. You will be amazed at the numbers that you get. But the reason we're getting into it now is because there is a legitimate, profitable revenue-making opportunity today in a game called Axie Infinity. But it's just the beginning. Because if you think about the whole point of the Metaverse, is that you don't have, eventually, at least the end goal of it, is today we have all these walled gardens, right? We have all these games that are little universes among themselves. You're in a game, you can't just, jump
Everything becomes cross-play, cross-platform,
you can't
everything.
jump out of Fortnite into Roblox, or,
right.
Whatever it is. There's a wall there. Well, the goal eventually of the Metaverse is that there's an interoperability here where, Rob Gifford, your avatar, your person, your digital presence can translate from one environment to another seamlessly. You have your wallets and you have your resources, and not only is it gameplay interoperability, but it's assets and experience, music, advertising, community, social interaction, and whoever's in this on the ground floor now in 5 to 10 years, it's going to be pretty amazing, I think.
So let's say I'm PlayStation, I'm Microsoft, Xbox, I'm things of that nature. Is the hardware, the way it currently is right now, going to stay the same? It's just your preference of hardware and how you interact in this metaverse? Or do they have a complete and utter adjustment coming? And I'm sure they're already ahead of it and know what's coming. But from your guys' perspective, I mean, will they look the same, or is gaming as we know it, traditional gaming, just done? Will it always be with a computer or a phone or these Facebook, Oculus type things? Is it going to be more that? Is it going to be traditional gaming just in this metaverse crossplay? Like, what do you see it looking like?
I definitely think it's going to continue to remain what I would call kind of cross-platform.
Okay.
Already today, I mean, Axie Infinity, you can play on your tablet, your computer, your phone, and with the exception of, again, when we talk about the metaverse itself, that, in my mind, speaks much more to the virtual reality environment,
right,
where you do need a VR system. But the idea of these play-to-earn games is certainly not some kind of exclusive hardware-based environment.
So, I was doing some reading because that's what you tend to do when you're prepping for a show like this, right? And it's interesting because you're talking about the Philippines and how they're making some decent money there, playing to earn as it is. But it's not just money. There's other things that you were talking about in the context a little bit about how you can take these items that, you play a game and somebody creates this 50 golden swords in one of the games.
Yep.
And I can take it from Axie Infinity into World of Warcraft if they spoke with each other, and I could take that golden sword and from one game to the other game. And what's even more interesting is, let's say it's not a game that might use or utilize a sword in it. Maybe you're running around chasing somebody. So now you have on your uniform or your outfit, you have a golden sword on your shoulder because you own that, and blockchain acknowledges that, and you take it with you from place to place because it's in your digital wallet, so to speak. I thought that was fascinating, just how you can take items. I wondered if that's what NFTs will end up being as well, trading in that space as well.
I really think that is a big possibility, that where it will be developed too. It's going to take a long time because now these platforms are just, I mean, honestly, right now they're kind of, the look and feel of them are, I would say, is not very advanced yet.
Absolutely.
When you compare it to, the Xbox, PlayStation games or whatever, I would say
it almost feels like they're catered to a younger, audience. Like
it's still pretty
6 to 12, or
it's still pretty rudimentary.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised if there are a lot of 6 to 12-year-olds playing it. But
Well, I guess maybe I'll expound on that.
yeah,
Graphic-wise.
The look of it. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
The look of it.
Yep, the look
Look-wise,
of it.
yeah.
Yep.
These,
yeah.
just to take off on that one, these games actually require a fair amount of skill, knowledge,
sophistication,
in order
Sure.
to play these games.
Well, where I was going with that is that it is the graphics. I do think are and I get what you were saying. They're kind of rudimentary, but you can already see partnerships starting to form with gaming companies, like Epic Games. Xbox is looking, Microsoft's looking into investments here. So I think it's going to develop. I think that the graphics and the gameplay itself, as we move forward, it's just so early. As the years go by, I think it will develop over time.
It's almost like 2D now. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then,
I think that's a given. I wish I could remember Call of Duty, the makers of Call of Duty, and one other one. Do you remember? Two major game players. There's already rumors
oh, really?
that they are in development of a play-to-earn blockchain-based game within the next 12 months. That they're
So what you're saying is essentially like two companies that before this existed might not ever communicate with each other now are. Is that what you're saying?
Part of that, but just the fact that I don't know who's the maker of Call of Duty.
Well, they switch it.
Well,
it's
really economics because the global gaming industry is billions and billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. Well, the play-to-earn blockchain gaming industry is taking a bite out of that pie,
yeah.
and is going to take bigger and bigger bites. So, if you're Epic Games or you're whoever these game developers are, you're going to have to evolve with that and take advantage of a market that they say the metaverse is $1 trillion market eventually, and play-to-earn gaming or metaverse gaming itself is going to be a huge part of that. And so they kind of have to adapt, and they already are. Like Joe said, they're making their own plans to say, okay, we've got our traditional game, we're going to put this on the blockchain and take advantage of this, or they're starting to link up with blockchain developers and they're working together. And so, that will cause the gameplay itself to evolve, I think, while the environment around it, the metaverse, is evolving and then becoming more interoperable. It's just going to take some time. I think the opportunities are already, but it's nothing like it's going to be in 5 years.
The growth of these things is always exponential, right? You can never stay in front of it. It's just going to take off. And it's like, so when you talk about how Crypto Ventures is invested into Axie Infinity, just out of curiosity, a little bit behind the scenes, how long does that take for you guys to research before you come to a decision, from the very beginning stages of researching something like that to making a decision of, yes, we're going to invest? That's one question. The other question off of that would be, does things change so exponentially in the time it took you to make that decision that now you're back to stage one?
That's a great question. So we've been discussing this investment in metaverse gaming for several months, not longer. And obviously, we're in the industry and researching all the time. But there's a lot of things to consider there. First of all, you hit the nail on the head that you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, because it's still it's a shifting environment where Axie Infinity is the leader today, but there are other opportunities out there too, and you don't know exactly who's going to be standing in 5 years. So you have to remain very versatile and willing to adjust, and be careful with how you invest. You can't just run into this, with reckless abandon. And so, because you got the idea of shifting demand, shifting market forces, you got games that have been around for a year or two that have hundreds of millions of dollars of traffic. And then you have other games that a year from now they could just bust onto the scene with users, and it's such a nascent early market that we've already talked about this, that our research shows that Axie Infinity is the investment of today, but even after we make a beta investment into that, we're looking at other opportunities and constantly researching what are the other play-to-earn platforms that we might want to diversify into. And honestly, if you're looking at the trends and the usage and the market forces are telling you that there's a shift, then you have to react to that. You cannot be afraid to divert, and don't get yourself into a trap.
Don't fall in love with something. Yeah. What why Philippines? Why is the United States not ahead in something like this? Why the Philippines? Is it that their test market? Are they the only ones that have access to pay to earn with that specific game, or just out of curiosity?
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to make a quick comment on that. So only way I know to do this is with an example. With the way Axie Infinity works is you can go and get a team of Axie's characters to play with and do it yourself. But they also have a concept called a scholarship program, which is really, as an investor, you can purchase the game items you need, and then you can delegate play to others. And
Okay.
in essence, they become part of your team, really a part of your staff. And they play, they earn a portion of the earnings, and the investor and managers earn a portion of the earnings as well. And so that's what we're doing right now. We have recruited a manager that is going to be working to put a team together in concert with us. But there's all kinds of considerations like security, how do you keep your investment funds safe? How do you work across borders? And I mean, the simple answer for the Philippines is that I think I read the average Axie player in the Philippines is making something like $13 or $14 an hour of U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
That, because of the currency differences, that's a healthy pay in the Philippines. And so there's no other way around it than people that love to game.
Makes sense, yeah.
And and it's not just gaming. They have to be a part of a team.
Right.
They have a manager. They have team members. These games are not easy. Trust me, I've tried them, and Joe's a lot more experienced at these games than I am. But I'm telling you, it's not easy. You get to a certain level, you think you're doing okay. There's some fierce competition in these games. So it's a real skill set. It's a career in the Philippines and other places. And I don't know, I guess I could look up what the cost of living difference is, but you got to think $13 to $14 an hour is a $25 an hour job or more.
Absolutely. And I guess I don't want to get the picture too skewed for our audience.
Sure.
And think that there's not opportunity out there. Axie, again, is kind of the front runner and has certainly developed. And it's so funny to hear us talk about hiring managers and managing our team. I just feel like a football team owner. Right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
But
hope you don't add any Antonio Browns on your team.
Oh, man.
But just to kind of re-answer that question, as Axie Infinity was developing, the level of investment early on was relatively small.
Yeah.
And it was something that a broader audience could afford. And what was really interesting is that as you got in early and made those investments, you could generate a nice income, but the assets that you developed then actually began to gain value as well.
Yes.
And that is true for a lot of other games. There are again several other games up and coming that, you know, well, today, I mean, if you want to buy Call of Duty or something, you're going to spend $50, $60.
Easily, yep.
$50 to $60 investment in many of these blockchain games out there will get you more than enough to play and do well in the game.
Absolutely.
Up to a point, again, there is a graduating level of where the skills begin to be, higher skills are needed, and also then you also need to start associating with other teams or guilds or things of that nature as you continue to grow your game.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's again, just for our audience's benefit, there is a pretty wide range of play to earn that what do I want to call it? Just ways to play. There is a casual play. There are things that you can do, even in Axie Infinity, that they're just quests. You go out and do a certain number of things, you can generate a certain amount of income. If you want to continue to, try to earn more and more, then you get compensated based on your skill set.
Absolutely, the retail, gamer. I'm glad you brought that up. It is very accessible. You can get into Axie Infinity. I think you can get a solid team for a few $100s, and you can play that, and you can earn, and you can build a team, and you can get more Axies, etc. There are some out there like us that are primarily investors, and not gamers themselves. Even though we're trying to game too, I'm just not a great gamer. I got to admit, I understand the economy of it, and I understand how to crunch the numbers.
What I hear though is, going back to we're owners of a football team analogy, is the amount of job opportunities that are created now. You don't know. You're the investor, so you hire a manager who does know, who's out there looking for the best gamers in the world, and he might need to assemble a team of scouts and recruiters of people that can do that.
Well,
so that just right there.
No joke. Yeah. I absolutely believe this space. We've talked about esports before,
sure,
but this space has that same ability that as games become popular, players do well, and
you'll be watching games within the game.
Right.
Don't get all Inception on me now, Christopher Nolan.
I think so, and it is phenomenal because as an investor, sorry, I got to adjust this.
No, you're right.
Obviously it's incumbent upon us. We have to have intimate knowledge of, how gameplay works, the economy of it. You have to have that view from your research,
right,
and stay in tune with that. But you can't do everything, and so that's why we're trying, to assemble a team and a manager who they're in it every day playing, and they're gamers, And it's not just about gaming either. It's about truly a team that. Usually these guilds, they have a Discord channel, they have marketing, they have to recruit. We're going to have to recruit scholars, especially as we scale. You have to recruit players, and really it makes a difference on the players that you recruit. There's experienced players and there's inexperienced players.
You're going to see some young Filipino boy on the cover of the Wheaties box.
Yeah.
That could happen. We're almost out of time here, guys. Final thoughts, something that we didn't get to discuss that maybe you wanted to throw in there. Ashley, do you have any final say before we wrap this up?
It is really, really incredible, the opportunities in the crypto space. And it's very difficult to sift through what to focus on sometimes because there are so many opportunities. But it should tell you a lot that one of our revenue streams as a company, one of our focuses as a company going forward is we're going to test this metaverse gaming market because it truly is. I mean, it's not just a revenue opportunity, but it's kind of a fundamental shift, and it is hard to imagine it not really transforming a lot of things. And it makes me feel good too that there's people that can earn a living on this, and it kind of broadens opportunity as well. That's certainly not a negative to me.
And I'll just cap all that off by just bringing it back to the fact this is all made possible by blockchain and cryptocurrency. This is all outgrowth of that fundamental development.
And because of that technology, they've pushed all of this new technology, but the new technology might help people further understand and get invested into the crypto world.
That's a great point. They say that, and a lot of people that we've been reading lately, that Metaverse gaming is going to be the on-ramp, like the on-ramp for blockchain adoption. It's something, I mean, when I talk to you about decentralized finance, your eyes might glaze over.
Right. But if I get you talking about pay to earn and Metaverse and digital real estate, ooh, you got my attention there.
There's a lot of gamers out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the show. I know your viewers do, and that it's just going to continue to grow and grow. And just again, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Episode 5, Crypto Now. It's out there. Check it out and be ready next month for Crypto Now episode 6. I'm Robert Gifford. We'll see you later.